All right, hello, fellow humans. We're trying something a little bit different today. Going live. I got to see how this goes. Hopefully, you can hear me all right. This is just a little bit easier than having to upload, honestly. So before I get into the topic, I wanted to just kind of do a quick display of my background here. So this is for anybody that's been following my art, my painting. I thought, hey, this might be a cool way to show it by having it in the background. I feel like a weather forecaster right now. So this painting was well, actually, it was a Bob Ross painting. It was supposed to be of a farm setting, but as I was doing it, it kind of was interesting. I'll go out of the way here for a second. I started noticing a resemblance to my grandparents' farm, who have both since passed away now. But when I was a kid, I would go to their farm and love the barn and the farmhouse and everything. It was super cool. So anyway, it was kind of a cool little nod to them. So that's the story with the farm background. What I wanted to talk about was well, first off, I've been kind of working on some projects last week, so I haven't really honestly been following news or politics very much. I kind of been focusing on some other things, but I have been following some of my YouTube people that I like to watch, including Beau the Fifth and Brian Tyler Cohen, who both today talked about Amy Coney Barrett, who is going through her hearings for the nomination to the Supreme Court. And it came up that she was questioned on what rights were protected under the First Amendment, and that she couldn't answer the question. And so the devil's advocate in me, the kind of give the benefit of the doubt person in me, when I first heard Beau talking about it, I thought, you know what, I bet in context it probably doesn't look as bad as it sounds. Like, it's probably one of those things where it's in the moment, like it kind of just made sense, and there was sort of a reason to it. So I went ahead and watched it, and honestly, I thought it was worse than how it came off by listening to Beau talk about it. I actually thought it was worse. The reason I thought it was worse was specifically because of the right that she missed, which was, of course, the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. If she had missed freedom of speech, freedom of religion, I mean, okay, that would have been bad, right? She shouldn't miss any of them. But if she had missed one of those, at least you could say, like, okay, yeah, she kind of just had a lapse for a moment, in her brain, because that's the easiest one. Everybody knows those ones, those two. But petitioning the government for a redress of grievances, particularly right now, in this moment, is kind of a big deal. It's kind of an important one. So yeah, the fact that she would miss that was, it's troubling, I think, because that, as others have said, that is a form of media that is under attack right now by the president. Protesting and the right of the free press in general are both under attack. So to not have that as a ready answer, yes, that's a problem. A couple other thoughts that I had on it, though. The first one, I always feel like there's ways to circumvent those types of situations. Now, should she have those 5 memorized? Absolutely. You're going for a lifetime appointment to the Supreme Court. You absolutely should know the five rights that are protected under the First Amendment. However, you have one of those little Constitution pocketbooks, inside your pocket of your shirt or your breast pocket. You get asked that question, you pull out your little constitutional handbook, you say, you know what, I just want to make sure I properly mention each one and give the correct attention to each one, so I'm going to read them to you. I think having a nominee to the Supreme Court who carries around a pocket constitution with her at all times is probably a good thing. She could just be having it on her just for the fact that she's going to do the nominee hearing. But I think for in terms of display and show, I think that might have been a good idea. I don't think that her having a pocketbook of the Constitution on her would be held against her. So that's one thought. The other thought was, so again, I don't like to go into details of what I do for work. At some point in the future, I probably will be able to, but right now I don't. But what I will say is that, much like what Beau had said regarding, like, if you were going into to work for a fast food place, or if you were going to work in a car shop, there are certain things that you have to know that you would automatically get disqualified for. There are things like that in my job as well, that, like, if you're going up for a particular qualification, that if you don't know this one particular thing, that it is a showstopper, like interview over. But having said that, I think there's something to be said for using notes, for using sources, resources. And the reason I say this is I noticed there was also a moment where they brought attention to the fact that she does not have notes on her. She had a blank notepad. I guess it just had the name of somebody on it. And it was sort of celebrated as a good thing, as like a show of how intelligent she is, that she doesn't need notes. Due to the fact that she didn't know the First Amendment, that's kind of problematic, I think. I think it speaks to the importance of having notes. The thing is, when I'm in these qualification processes, these interviews, we are actually allowed to have resources with us. We usually they don't want you to have handwritten notes where you just write down everything, but there's material, there's source material out there, like the manual that has been talked about before. There's material out there, regulations that will answer specific questions that you're being asked for the specific job that you're trying to take on. So again, there are showstopper questions where you're not even supposed to use resources. But I'm not even talking about the First Amendment specifically necessarily. I'm just talking in general. When you don't have resources in front of you, you are at the mercy of your memory, and you can forget things. People do forget things, and when you are in a position of choosing of interpretation of the Constitution, you probably have the Constitution there. I mean, I don't think that you're going to memorize it verbatim and then just pull it out of your head. So I say that to say, should she have known those 5 rights? Absolutely. Without looking at notes, of course. But there are a lot of details. You get lost in the minutia. You know, we call it getting lost in the weeds when we start going down these different roads when you're trying to answer these questions. You can get lost in the minutia. A Supreme Court justice needs to get lost in the minutia. She needs to know the details, the ins and outs, every corner of the law. So I think that she should have notes with her. I think that it is not against somebody for somebody to have sources with them to help them answer the questions. You can have every regulation in front of you. That doesn't mean that you're going to pass. If you're trying to get into a job, you have to know where it is. You have to know where to look it up. It's just knowing that you are using the absolute correct information. That's important. I think that's really important. So again, should she have known it? Yeah. But at the same time, I wouldn't hold it against her if she were to have some kind of resource on her to basically like allow her to more fully answer a question. Research family. Liberals consider Judge Amy Barrett's 2 black children mere ornaments. Okay, I don't even know anything about that, so I have to look into that one. As I said at the beginning, I've been kind of working on some other projects. Sounds like a Lipso Grand. What was that? Sam Cedar with the 2 E's. Sounds like that kind of something like that. Anyway, but that's cool. I'm glad that someone's on here and not talking just into the void completely. But anyway, those are my thoughts on what was going on with that. So, thanks for checking in on me. And I wanted to mention I got some really big news coming up this Saturday, October 17th. So I'm pretty excited to have that. So be on the lookout for that. Until then, have a great rest of your day. And remember, don't be afraid to question the consensus.